The semi-final pairings at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar are now set. Remaining are the reigning champions, a former champion, the 2018 losing finalist, and a massive surprise package. The pairings were completed on Saturday with Morocco and France securing their quarter-final wins. Morocco became the first African team to reach the World Cup semis with a stunning 1-0 win over Portugal. Cristiano Ronaldo came on as a second-half substitute but could not deny the Moroccans, who got what turned out to be the winner from Youssef Nesri in the 42nd minute. Morocco also reduced to 10 men when Walid Chedira was red-carded in time added on. The defending champions, France, they edged England 2-1 in a thriller. Harry Kane missed a penalty which would have levelled the contest for the Three Lions. Croatia, who upset Brazil, and the two-time champions Argentina, who got by the Netherlands, had secured their semi-final spots on Friday. So here are the semi-final lineups. Argentina against Croatia, that semi-final on Tuesday, and on Wednesday, France will meet Morocco. We're joined by Brent Sancho to discuss the latest stories surrounding the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. My first question to you, Brent, as we welcome you on the SportsMax zone. Which team is the informed team, or the team you think has the best chance of making it all the way to the final?
I think that's a sacrilegious question, Donald, because it's, listen, I think this World Cup has shown us one thing. Inform, history, whatever you want to call it. You could put a whole list down, throw it out the window, because it doesn't matter. It's about on the day. It's about inches. It's about, of course, execution of game plans. And that's what it's come down to. What you've seen from Morocco, what you've seen from Croatia, they have been extremely good in what they do. They've been almost faultless in their approach. And we've seen that. It's remarkable, guys. And we're sitting here talking about a World Cup semi-finals, and Croatia has won one game in this entire World Cup. And it's mind-boggling. But that's what we've seen here at this World Cup. So going to your question, with the semi-finals coming up, it's almost impossible to even try to, of course, choose a favorite coming into these games. But certainly, we could look at some of the attributes that the teams present.
Yeah. Let's do that. We can do that quickly, because let's talk about Argentina first, because a lot of people would consider Argentina to be favorites, even if they're supporters before the start of the tournament. Let's look at Argentina. Even in their quarterfinal matchup, they obviously were in control against the Netherlands, and then the Netherlands started to go direct at them, came back into the contest to tie it 2-2, and in the end, Argentina had to hold out on penalties. So they obviously have pros and cons, but based on how they performed in the first 70 minutes or so in that matchup with the Netherlands, what do you think their chances are, or their issues are?
Well, I think the pros for Argentina is that man Lionel Messi. He's a match winner. His ability, of course, to see a pass, his ability to change the course of a football game, and it's just his overall greatness is something you cannot look away from. But then there is their cons, and their cons stared in the face against Netherlands. It stared them in the face throughout most of the World Cup, because Argentina have not played a complete football match for me this tournament. They have not played particularly well. Of course, if you take the Netherlands game into consideration, and you rightfully said 70 minutes or so, that's about it. When you look at their collective time, they've played particularly well. Their cons are they're very frail and fragile defensively. We've seen it time and time again. Holland exposed them at the end of that football match when they started lumping balls forward and causing all sorts of problems to the Argentine. So rash challenges. And to me, every time I see Otamendi in any defense, anywhere around the world, I start to panic. And that man brings me the heebie-jeebies when I see him. So I think from that perspective, you have to look at that as a possible frailty that could impact, of course, Argentina. I was in Qatar a couple of days ago, and I saw the Croatia-Japan game live. And I tell you guys, I've never seen a football team Croatia control possession for about 3 minutes without even moving up or down the pitch. They're extremely good in what they do, killing games, sucking the life out of football games, and they're very difficult to break down, and they're very difficult to beat.
All right, second question. I'm going to phrase it a little bit differently, because you're comparing two teams now. Which team has more resolve, Morocco or Croatia?
I think the Moroccans and the Moroccans have found a way not only to understand what makes them good, but also use that as their weapon every single time. They are probably the best football team in this tournament when it comes to transition. They turn defense to offense very, very quickly. 4 or 5 passes in front of your goal, and that has made them extremely difficult to play against. And of course, defensively, they've been very, very resolute. Good goalkeeper, of course, as well, and he's been great throughout the tournament. It must be noted, of course, they've been piling on the injuries of late. Of course, they've lost, of course, the captain in the last game. We're not sure what his fitness is like going into this game. But I would still suggest, Donald, that despite whoever comes off, whatever piece of the puzzle moves off or from the chessboard, they're able to bring someone on who shows the same passion and determination. And I think because of that, because they have nothing to lose, more importantly, they're going into this football game knowing that and knowing that they could create history. Imagine sitting in that hotel as a Moroccan player, knowing you have 2 games to lift a World Cup, 2 football games. They're going to put everything in it, and it's going to be a very, very difficult night for the French.
Yeah, I want to say something quickly on the same Argentina-Croatia game before we move more in depth with the Morocco game. Luka Modric, Brent, is 37 years old, the same age as Cristiano Ronaldo is. But this man, you mentioned controlling just now when you spoke about how Croatia controlled the game. How much credit does the 37-year-old Luka Modric take for what Croatia is doing at the moment?
A lot of credit. And again, going back to the game that I saw live, it is remarkable, Lance, his positioning on the field. I've never seen a player that understands as a maestro and obviously leading an orchestra where he needs to be, when he needs to be. He's not flustered in trying to get too involved too early, but somehow he always knows where the play is going to unfold, whether it is the second phase or third phase of course, a possession situation for Croatia. So he may not be involved in the original start of that possession, but sure, he would be at the end, and 9 times out of 10, he would be the one making the telling pass. And it's simply down to where he positions himself on the field. It's interesting to note as well, he doesn't exert a lot of energy. He's very good at understanding where he needs to be, how he needs to operate, and how he needs to work, both offensively and defensively. He takes up some terrific positions defensively as well. And of course, he has good help with Brozovic and of course, Kovacic in the middle as well. It's almost like they know what the next person is going to do. Yes. That midfield 3, I think, is probably one of the best midfield 3 in the tournament right now.
Yeah, quickly now, France, the defending champions, trying to become the first team since Brazil in, 60 years ago to repeat as champions. Tough ask for them, but the way things are set up at the moment, they look to be in a good place. Morocco, as you mentioned, in a spot of bother. Their captain is struggling to be fit to play. His central defensive partner, Naif Ergerd, is out injured. So as much as we have enjoyed Morocco's run here, it's going to be tough for them to get past this hurdle in the semis.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. And I thought France was very lucky to get away with a win against England. I thought England dominated the second period and really should have gone away winners. But that being said, the France that played the first 45 minutes or so showed a lot of grit, a lot of bite. They were getting into some very interesting places. And I think one of the X factors that has worked very well, I know a lot of conversations around Kylian Mbappe, but you have to give a shout out to Griezmann and what he's done in this World Cup. Yeah. He's been asked to play almost in that 10 position, which is not normally where he plays for his club. But he's really marveled in it, both offensively and defensively. And if he continues to play in the vein of form that he's been playing in so far, yes, I believe the French can move on to the finals.
Yeah, and quickly, the Morocco elimination of Portugal labelled a massive upset. And in the scheme of things, I understand it being reported that way, but they already knocked out the world number 2 Belgium and the world number 2 Spain. So I think the Morocco victory over Portugal over the weekend was not as stunning as some people are making out to be.
Yeah, it wasn't, because we saw that coming. We saw a Portugal team that looked a bit, of course, albeit they did put a bit of a shallacking on Switzerland, but yes, outside of that, they did look a bit stutter, hence the reason Cristiano Ronaldo was put on the bench. They did stutter start as it relates to their fluidity offensively. and you thought they may have bet the corner against Switzerland, but it was a very resolute Moroccan team, you're correct. And I always felt Portugal would have, of course, been susceptible to that transition that I talked about that Morocco possessed. And I think that's where they fell asleep, and Morocco was able to counter and go. But you're right, it was a surprise on paper, but I think in general, it was not much of a surprise, because if you look at the Moroccans, of course, results throughout this tournament, it has been exceptional. And who knows, as I said, sitting in that hotel room as a Moroccan player and thinking you have 2 weeks to win the World Cup must be a hell of a place to be.
Yeah, and finally, Brent, before you go, Cristiano Ronaldo made some comments in the past 24 hours about his dedication to Portugal and left the door open for still playing international football. Your thoughts generally on what happened with him in the World Cup and his future with Portugal?
Yeah, look, I'm really devastated in the way he's been treated over the last 6 to 8 months or so. This is a man that has brought you consistently unbelievable football. He's been a genius, a maestro in what he's done. He's, as I said, being consistently good, both him and Lionel Messi. But I think the media in particular have gone way and beyond themselves to make sure that they try to villainize this man, which has been wrong. You've seen all of the action, all of the reports coming out. This is someone that's been having a very, very tough time. It's been a tough year as well for him as a player. He is a human being after all. Sometimes we don't believe so. But I think he should be given all affordances to be able to come back into the Portugal team and, of course, and represent them, because it's a country he's represented very, very well and has served very well as well.
Okay, Brent, we'll leave it there. Thanks, man. We'll talk again during the week, I'm sure.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, back with more of the SportsMax Zone after this.